Good morning and welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. I'm your host, Juliette Clark. Before we get started today, I want to invite you to go over to www.promoteprofitpublishquiz.com and find out where your skill set is with your platform building. Are you ready to launch? Today, we have a really incredible guest who is also one of my clients. I rarely have my clients on here, so I'm pretty excited about it. Her name is Elizabeth Bachman, and Elizabeth is the go-to person for advanced level training in speaking, presentation, skills, sales, and leadership. With a lifetime spent perfecting the art of presenting, she helps high-level clients master a message that brings the funding they need, the allies they want, and the recognition they deserve. A sought-after speaker and strategist, Elizabeth works with leaders and influencers who need to become concise and compelling presenters. She helps them present as smart, down-to-earth, loose, funny, even friendly sometimes. And I said that backwards, but it's there. And still be taken seriously. Elizabeth has directed such luminaries as Luciano Pavarotti and Placido Domingo in more than 50 operas around the world, giving her a wealth of tools to help business professionals become respected presenters. She is fluent in 5 languages, and if I were fluent in 5 languages, that would mean I could cuss you out in 5 languages, but Elizabeth's much more of a lady than that. She's also adept at working at presenters from many countries, bringing her global experience to her clients. She is an award-winning contributing author to an international bestseller called Messages That Matter, as well as the creator of How to Get Booked as a Speaker. Taking your show on the road, the ultimate guide to filling your calendar with lucrative speaking gigs. She's also been featured by numerous media outlets alongside and among others as business greats Dr. Ivan Misner, Dan Kennedy, and Steve Forbes. She presents regularly at corporations such as Bank of America, McKesson, Turner Construction, as well as the National Association of Women Business Owners, Small Business Global Summit, and E-Women Network, and many, many, many more. She's also the founder and artistic director at Top Opera, a summer opera training program in the Austrian Alps, where she is coming to live for us today, and continues to give back to the opera community. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Juliette. I'm just so delighted to be here.
Well, we're great. We're delighted to have you. So I have a lot of questions for you about the speaking world, because I think there are a lot of misconceptions out there. And I'll just drag on a little about that for a minute. Everybody who comes into the coaching world, they think they need to be an author and a speaker. And it's gotten to be this big buzz about, I have to be all 3. And suddenly they're hundreds of thousands of dollars into this coaching world without really having any clients. What's the piece of that you solve as a speaker coach?
Well, I work with high-level corporate clients, but I also work with speakers like me with a program called Get Booked, Get Paid Now, which is getting speaking gigs. I always figure that if you really need 3 things to be a speaker, and speaking is part of your marketing program. So a book can be part of your marketing program and build up the rest of your business, or the book could be the end game. But really, publishing a book, almost nobody makes money on it unless it's Danielle Steele. Hardly anybody seriously makes money with a book. Having a book is a great tool, but it's not necessarily something that's going to get you paid. And in the same way, having a great signature speech is a tool. It's a really cool, fun, interesting tool. But if you don't have the right strategy, you could be speaking, once a day and still not make any money. You've got to have the right strategy for it. And a huge part of that is how you get booked and how you get paid. And so that's really what I do for my fellow speakers, is the Get Booked, Get Paid Now program helps them get into paying speaking gigs. Because frankly, as a speaker trainer, that is probably the question I get more than anything else. How can I get paid to speak?
And there are a couple different ways to get paid in that sense too. It
Yes,
depends on
there are a lot of different ways of doing it.
what avenue you pursue. So you work a lot with people who are paid to go to an event and speak the keynotes.
Yes, there are the keynoters. Yes.
And then there is the whole.
Not necessarily the best way to get paid.
No, yes, I agree. Because I'm one of the others. When I go, I speak to sell. So
Yes.
that's my avenue, as I bring in more clients. So that's another avenue as well. Are there any other besides those two? Do you have to be one or the other?
Well, no, actually, there are quite a few ways to get paid to speak. You could also speak and promote someone else's program. So you could let them do the work of filling the room, which is always the hardest part if you're doing a workshop. Anybody who's ever done a workshop will know the hardest part is getting people to show up. So you could go be a speaker for a program that's really well known and guaranteed to have speaking, and then you're delivering their material their way, but you do get a check for it. And it can be great. It can be great experience on the way to doing your own material. And then the other way that lots and lots of people do is they speak to get clients. They speak for free and use that to get clients. The key is if you're speaking to, say, a whole bunch of groups of other entrepreneurs, mostly broke entrepreneurs. This is what happened to me. I was speaking for quite some time. I was speaking to get paid. People would come up to me and they'd say, I love it. I love your work. I need you so desperately. I've got to get out there, start speaking. But, do you suppose you could knock a zero off your fee? Yeah, maybe I could get 6 months of your time for $500. How do you think? And I just got tired of it. I got fed up. And because what I do is I help people give great presentations. It doesn't matter to me what they're talking about, who they are, as long as they care about what they're saying. So my skills applied equally to the entrepreneur field and to the business field. And I've always had sort of a business brain. It's one of the reasons why I signed up to work with you, Juliet, because you said, you were the no BS marketing coach. I said, that's for me. This is someone who's going to tell me how to do it and, then kick me in the butt. So I'll do it. And frankly, moving from speaking for free to a lot of astrologers and aromatherapy people whom I love. I love the astrologers. I love the aromatherapy people, but it wasn't paying my mortgage. And so I moved towards corporate, where there are people with steady paychecks and where companies can hire me. And that's what I did when I went through that. And I said, and other people were saying, how are you doing it? You've got to tell me how. Help me. So I created the Get Booked, Get Paid Now program, because if you have material that would fit for a business audience, and if you're willing to talk to a business audience and help them, then hundreds of thousands of dollars are spent every year by companies who bring in trainers. So it's really, it can be a very lucrative way. So that is the way to get paid to speak. You're still speaking for free from time to time, but your chances are it's an audience that is more employed. And not just working on commission.
That's a good way to put it. Every probably once a year, I speak in front of a group of people who I know I'm not going to walk away from. But it really is getting in front of that right audience. And there are a lot of speakers out there who will say, "Oh my gosh, I've got 3 gigs this month," but they're not in front of the appropriate audience. So it's also about knowing who your audience is very deeply.
Yes, exactly. And really that's quite important is the first thing we do. Get Paid Now has two pieces. It's got the launch program, and then there is the mastery program. So if you're already working with corporate clients and you know who you're supposed to talk to and what your material is, you can go straight to mastery. But I know so many speakers who are out there and they say, yes, I'd like to get into corporate, but they don't have a video. They don't have the right material. They don't have the right language.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to get there, and they don't know what their niche is. So the launch version is just 7 weeks, and we talk about who's your niche? Who are you looking for? Because you could go look for anybody. So, it's like the old thing of the dermatologist who says, who's your ideal client? And they said, well, anybody with skin. That's an old joke. And that's kind of where I was when I first started out. Everybody needs communication skills, right? They all marketing. It's just like you. Everybody needs marketing. How you find the ones who are going to be the people you concentrate on is the key. And committing to that niche, at least for 7 weeks, will make such a difference.
I agree with that. And I think I've related to, I know I have to you, Elizabeth, but I don't know about the listeners, about my first year in business. I was on Google Plus. I had a rocking crowd, but guess what? They didn't have any money. They were starving artists. And once I got some tools in place to assess that, I got off there and went over and made a concerted effort to where I really needed to be. So, but that's going to happen. I mean, what Elizabeth's talking about is she really drills down on that message and that niche, but consider over time that niche may change. Mine has changed dramatically over the last 3 years. As we've gone from super brand publishing to quiz to qualify. So you've directed opera, which just seems so weird to me. How did that relate, or how does it relate to public speaking?
Well, I like to think now when I look back, it all seemed to just happen by itself at the time. But when I look back, I can see that I've been dedicated to the art of great communication since I first walked on stage at the age of 5. And, I was in a children's theater group, and my mom said I was the best damn bunny rabbit ever to grace the stage of the Hillside School. And I was hooked. And I thought I was going to be a famous actress on Broadway. And then I got older and I realized actually I was a better director than I was an actor. And at the same time, I was a language person. My grandmother spoke 8 languages, my 5 plus Latin, Greek, and Japanese. So, me speaking 5 languages, that's no big deal in our family. And I discovered opera, where you could have music, theater, language, and travel. And it took me around, and I worked my way up through the ranks. My first opera job, I kid you not, was driving the truck, and I had to clean out the floor of the rehearsal room because we were in an old warehouse, and I spent a week shoveling mud off the floor of the rehearsal. So driving the truck and sweeping the stage was the beginning of my career. And I worked my way up to directing at the Metropolitan Opera and internationally, and then running an opera company of my own.
Isn't it funny when you look back, you have these everyday experiences and you kind of wonder, I mean, there have been times when I've had my resume out when I've thought, oh my gosh, like, why did I go from this to this to this? Yeah. And then it hits you and you're like, oh, because I needed all my experience to do what I do today.
Exactly. And it's putting it all together that comes out, and people say, and I talk about you need a strategy, you need a good script, and then you need a good delivery style. And they say, well, how do you teach delivery style? And I say, well, 30 years I've been teaching people how to be fabulous in front of a group. I don't really know what I'm going to say till it comes. And then I see something and say, oh, try this. Oh, let's do this, let's do that. And it's just like, oh, it's right there at my fingertips. Thank God. I'm so happy.
Right. And it's funny because when you see how people start out and how stiff they look and they don't connect with an audience, you feel that. You feel that as the audience.
Yeah.
When I first started presenting, when I worked at Shy Day, I actually wore reading glasses because I was scared to like make eye contact. So I would strategically like look around the room. And then one day I finally took those glasses off, but they really helped me get through the fear. And I think so many people have that fear and they come across stiff when they're up there.
Well, here's a speaker tip. As you know, for women, wearing glasses actually makes you look smarter. I hope that's true, because I cannot wear contacts. My eyes won't let me wear contacts. And so without the glasses, I'm blind. So I have to figure out ways that I can manage with the glasses. And somebody said, oh, well, that just makes you look smarter. So at least that's what I tell myself. I hope it's true. I don't know for sure.
Okay, I'll go take my contacts out right now. So what are the 5 secrets to getting booked and getting paid?
So it starts out with why, because you have to embrace that this is going to be worth it. It doesn't happen overnight. I wish it did. If I had a pill I could give you to make you a world famous speaker overnight, I'd be I'd be a bazillionaire, and I'd be a bazillionaire living on an island somewhere. But it takes work, and it takes at least 9 months or a year to get established in a new market. So if you are moving from entrepreneur to corporate market, you have to get yourself established. So think first about why, and embrace the concept that it's okay to get paid for your expertise. That's just, there are a lot of people out there who say, I have to go and help the world and, or heal people or just teach them. And yes, most of us are teachers, but it's okay to get paid for it. So that's the why, is it's okay to get paid for it. And take a look at your numbers. Sit down with your accountant and figure out what is it going to take to pay your bills, because that is actually a pretty good reason to do it too. And then who, what, where, and how. So it's who are your people, who's your audience, where to find them, what to say when you talk to them, and how to get yourself to actually do it. Because I actually designed this for people like me and the people I've heard. I heard so many people who said, oh yeah, well, I have this book or that program, or, yeah, I've read all the articles about how to get paid as a speaker. I just haven't done any of it.
Right.
So the thing that's making this difference from all those other things is my intention is that we actually do it. And so two weeks out of the month, I ask people to schedule 3 hours instead of 1 hour. There will be 1 hour of class, if you will, and then 2 hours to actually do the things we talked about. So I don't know about you, Juliet. You probably get up in the morning and know immediately what you're going to do, and you then just do what's on your list. But I am a world-class procrastinator. So if there's anybody else out there who procrastinates like I do, this program is for you.
Okay, I do have to admit I have a list, but I do. You know what? When it comes to my own marketing, I procrastinate. I have like this big blind spot back here. And I just went through 2 or 3 weeks where we're getting ready to launch Quiz to Qualify. And I had to marinate. And I always kind of beat myself up during that period because I don't feel like I'm in action. But I think my mind's just chewing it over. So I have those points too. I know I'm all about action, but I have those moments, especially when it comes to your stuff. I can look at it all day long and go, we need to do this, this, and this. When it comes to my own, it's like a big duh.
Me too. I mean, I can do all sorts of things to help my clients, but to actually do my own marketing, it's so easy to put that off. So that's really what this is about, is to give ourselves accountability and also referral partners. Here we build a group who can refer people back and forth. So, I have sent people to you, you've sent people to me, because we're in a group that connects together, and we see the value of what each other does.
Yeah.
And my favorite way to find speaking gigs, the absolute best way to find speaking gigs, is from other speakers. So if you develop a relationship with other speakers and someone says, hey, I just did this gig for this group, this would be a good place for you to go. So actually, part of one of the things about Get Booked, Get Paid Now is, one of the agreements you sign is we pledge to refer each other wherever possible. And there's a group that I work with where once I've been paid, I try to sell us as a trio, but once I've been paid, I say, hey, you know who you should have next, because her work fits just exactly into what I'm doing. And there are three of us who, our work, what I try to do is get us booked 1, 2, and 3. And we've got a program at McKesson Pharmaceuticals this summer where I did manage to convince them, and we're going to do one after the other, and it's going to help people so much hear from the three of us, because it all fits in. So that's one of the joys of what I do.
Yeah. And I think we do have a great little group that we work together. Catherine with her Extraordinary Women, Catherine Bell, sorry about that, with her Extraordinary Women's group, Olympia Hofstetter. We have a whole group that really, Debbie Hoffman is
Yep.
we're so interconnected in what we do that we can move people along from step 1 to step 2. And we know we're going to get action, and we know we're going to get results. So I think,
and it's complementary. So if it complements what you're doing, then refer them. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much. Do you have something you'd like to give away to our audience today where they can find out more about you?
I have a quiz.
Imagine that.
Through Quiz to Qualify. Yes. It's the Get Booked, Get Paid quiz. So if you go to www.getbookedgetpaidquiz.com, you'll have a free assessment that will give you an idea of where you are in the process, what you need, and what you need to do next. And then the gift that comes from that, especially for the people who are in this group, is once you've taken the quiz, you get a free strategy session with me to talk about your results and help you plan your next steps. I don't know, it might not be with me. I hope it is, but it would be how to get help, how to get support.
I love that, because that's one thing we work on within our group of people is really ethical enrollment. If I can't serve you, I'm not going to take your money. And I love that about our group of people. We'll get you to the person who can. So
and there are times I will send someone else. I say, you're not ready for me. Go here and get this part set up first, and then come back and we'll talk. And so it's getbookedgetpaidquiz.com.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juliet. I'm honored to be on your show.